Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Thanks for joining us with the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard. By George, it's quite a time right now. I mean, the elections are going very, very wild. We got national issues from all over the place. We got the whole issue with Ukraine, and oh wow, that's heavy. We've got recently, I guess they just appointed the first black woman on the Supreme Court. It's an interesting situation. And I guess Clarence Thomas, he and his wife are having issues, doing some things. So we've got many things happening. And then locally, we've got the local election aspect of it. And that's another situation. But what we're going to do this time around is that we're going to bring it in somewhat local and come up with maybe some local events and talk about that. And then naturally, the elections are here, and I've been interviewing candidates. So on the first end, we're just going to do the local stuff, and then we're going to probably have another candidate. I won't tell you who it is on this next half-hour aspect of it, but I'm sure you'll recognize his face when you see him. Okay, got me? But what we're going to do this time around is that you remember this book that we had? We interviewed a person about this particular book, very patriotic book aspect of it, Willing to Die. I had to happen to John Newton, and having to meet his son, and he came on the show, and boy, I tell you, what a read, it's a beautiful read aspect of it. But he's here, and we've known one another for quite some time. In fact, his dad passed away not too long ago. His mom is still the living aspect of it. So, in all due respect, Dad told me that I'm the one now. I'm the one now. I'm the person. Anyway, I got Ovi sitting right here, right next to me here, and we're going to kind of bring a little update on his publication here. Beautiful read, by the way, and it's a very timely one too, with the whole issue with Ukraine and whatever. And we're getting all kinds of folks, Ukrainians, who are coming to this country all over the country. 2-3 million people. I mean, you can't miss it because it's just all within our sphere. But again, you see the Ukrainian flag. I've never known about a Ukrainian flag before, but there it is. And, it's really a heavy situation. And then the Russia thing aspect of it, Russia was kind of an ally way back in the days, you know what I mean? But wow, what a learned situation. Ordinarily, you would be getting it in the books, but you don't get it anymore today. This is really a heavy aspect of it. So anyway, we're gonna be discussing and kind of get a little update on where the book is today and aspect of it. And again, I'm also proud of the fact that I got my little nephew here with me too, by the way. I got Timothy here, and Timothy was someone that we really talked about, Ovi and I, because during the early days he hadn't been in the Marine Corps, but he got in the Marine Corps, and his daughter too, by the way.
Yeah, she's in the Air Force.
She was in the Air Force aspect of it. What a patriotic group, if you will, aspect of it. So I'm proud to say that we've got Timothy here. He's here with us. He's going to join us in the conversation. And I think you're going to get quite an insight of what's going on. And I think that's key. And it's about family. Right. And too often it's family. And all due respect, that when you start thinking about family today, we're kind of like little wild right now. We're transitioning, let's put it away, from the old to the new, so to speak, as far as this country is concerned. But when you got but the story that I was getting from the book and his dad and whatever was how newly arrived patriots coming from other countries, if you will, and all of a sudden the so-called definition of this country was so powerful that everybody wants to come to the USA. Right. You got me? And too often, sometimes people who are here don't appreciate it.
Yep.
And in all due respect, it takes folks that are just coming in, and all of a sudden they're so excited about it and just very motivated, and boom, we started this political thing about English as a second language, but that particular group, it was English as a first language.
Yes.
So they didn't spend their time trying to figure out how do I put my language above and whatever. It was part of that culture. Don't get me wrong. But that language thing was very important to them,
yeah.
And just to show you from the standpoint of of the benefits of that is that you automatically come in, and in about maybe 3 months, you're speaking English. The next thing you know, you're going to school. The next thing you know, you're in college. The next thing you know, you're in the Corps. Next thing you know, you're very successful. I mean, I just threw that out there to say that's really what goes on. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So that being said, let me bring Obi on, and let's say that Obi, why don't you just go on and just bring us up to date? Bring us up to date, and what are you doing now, and kind of like talk a little bit about the book, and then bring Tim in the business. Okay.
Well, first I want to say thank you to all of you that are watching, and it's an honor and a privilege to be standing in front of the camera today between two American heroes. When I say that, I'm not talking about Hollywood heroes. I'm talking about true American heroes that have signed on the dotted line to protect the God-given individual rights that we have guaranteed under the Constitution. So I'm proud to be here with my son, Timothy Montine, Sergeant, U.S. Marine, and Bruce, which all of you know. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I like it. Thank you, Obi.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's good to be here, back on the show. Thank you, Bruce, for having me back. What should I say about what's going on in the world today? A whole lot. All of us know. But thank God we live in the land of the free and home of the brave, where we have men like these two men that have fought to protect the freedom and the individual rights that we have. And we're not threatened by the government. We're not punished by the government. At least not all of us right now. Some of the people that have stood up to the government have been reaping consequences because of that. But I go around and speak on my father's book called Willing to Die. Of course, Willing to Die for Freedom. It's the true story how he came to the United States of America, and what he was willing to do to bring his family out of socialist, communist Romania. It's an honor to be able to go around and speak at different places. Last time we've been in Cody, Wyoming at a college there in the auditorium. It was an awesome time to speak with a little over 100 people that love their country, love God, and love their families, and they just want to be left alone. They don't want to change the American way of life. And so just a quick thing is, for example, right now with the war in Ukraine, with the caravans coming from South America, they're all coming and wanting to come to the United States of America, the greatest nation in the world. If socialism was the answer, why aren't they all lining up at the border of China to go in? Why aren't they going to Russia? Why aren't they going to Spain or other socialist communist countries? That's because the United States of America is the greatest nation in the world. This is where they can achieve their dream and give their family the best life possible on the face of the earth. Now, don't take me wrong. I don't think that United States of America is perfect. We have a lot of things we need to fix, right? But with all that, we're still living the greatest nation in the world. So, where do you want to go from here?
Well,
Chris?
and just some little excerpts, some of the things that I got out of the book aspect of when I first read it, aspect of it. The whole issue of race is kind of like an issue right now. It's huge. And we are constantly trying to find that needle in the haystack to get it to the point where we're all together. We're all Americans, right?
Right.
Point. But I remembered one piece of the book, and I thought it was really great. And that's really when I really got into it. He started sharing the whole issue of the race thing in his book. He threw the piece in there. You got me?
Yeah.
And he threw that piece from the standpoint that it had gotten way over there, talking about race.
Yeah.
And then how he handled it from the standpoint of saying that that's not kind of like not that was kind of like part and parcel of why we were where we are in some but from another venture. Okay. But he's talked about that and how bad it was. You got me?
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. As opposed to here we are, we're still in a divide kind of situation.
Yeah.
We're still fighting the Civil War. And and that's during the Lincoln era aspect
Right.
of it. But we're still doing that same piece, and we just haven't let go of that. It's such a divide because it doesn't help situation out at all, especially now during the election aspect of it when we're trying to quote get the type of leadership that we need to maintain our patriotism, to maintain family, all the things that we basically, that in all due respect, that your father was saying why he wanted to come to the USA.
Yes.
And his whole history about how he prepared himself. He prepared himself to bring his family here.
Yes.
Aspect of it. And so I was really, really excited about that, and that really helped out. And I would just hope, and that's one of the reasons why I'm sharing this again,
Right.
because we need to keep talking about it.
Yes.
And so that's why I like the introduction that you shared again, and then like I said with yourself, and the fact that maybe you want to participate in the country aspect of it, and joining the military, because we at one point in time we used to have a draft. See, and the whole idea was to pick up those basics, the ABCs, all that kind of good stuff for young men and women, if you will, in our country, and then to teach them and educate them about where we were. See, we talked about history, all this, that, and the other aspect of it, and yet and still now we still have our ups and downs aspect of it. But the fact of the matter is that we don't have the draft anymore.
Right.
And when people start talking about all of the shootings that we're having in all of the country that they're right now, these are just young folks that had they gone through boot camp, we solved that problem overnight.
Yes. And I agree with that, and I do want to say the least that we should do as a nation for our young people when they graduate high school, they should serve at least 1 year as humanitarian aid somewhere in the world, especially South America, where they're going to see reality. Because they grow up here with everything. They don't even have a job, but yet they have a $1,500 cell phone. They go to Starbucks and buy on their cell phone, buy coffee, and then they complain that capitalism doesn't work. Yet they're reaping the benefits of the freedom that we have here, the free enterprise system. And so they need to experience real life. They need to go see some third world countries, how they live, how they hand me down clothes, and they don't have no $1,500 cell phone, that's for sure, and they cannot afford to buy coffee at Starbucks. So I think that would be really good for most of the young people that don't have direction in life to go see that.
Well, like I said, we got to bring Tim in now. See that?
Yeah, we'll make him a sergeant over them.
Well, what are you gonna do? We're gonna let him tell you what happened when he got off that bus.
Those yellow
to go to
footsteps.
boot camp, that youth camp. You know,
Oh, yeah.
That sergeant is sitting up there. See, now that's the preparation to be able to appreciate everything, even around the country and the whole 9 yards, right?
Exactly.
Tim, talk about that. What has it changed since I've been in there?
Well, you see, okay, I'm assuming my last rotation of going through boot camp was the last physical aggressive, because when Mothers of America came in and started making it a soft core, if I will,
Right. Okay.
now they can't be IT'd or anything like
Really?
that. Yeah, now it's softening even the
IT,
hardest.
what do you mean by that? What's IT?
Intense training,
Yeah,
IT, when the drill instructor is
but
going at you.
We educated these folks now.
Oh,
we
I'm
want to bring
sorry.
it back. We want to bring
IT,
it back.
intensive training. It's
Okay.
when you're in trouble and they start going at you, but
Yes.
they don't do that as hard anymore. But my inspiration, I actually got to read the rough draft of this book, and that was a large part of my decision to join, because the sacrifice that I realized my grandfather made for my family to be able to come to America and allow me to grow up in the privilege of America. I think America has a privilege. It's not depicted by colors.
Right.
But and the core shows us that for sure. But this book spoke to my heart, and the reason why I joined and stayed in for as long as I did was because the sacrifice that my grandfather made me feel that I want to pay back to this nation the freedom that it allowed my family to come here and have. That's my why, I guess, of joining.
Wow. Well, but you brings back memories, 'cause I remember going into boot camp, and you get off the bus. First off, the recruiter, you got to go to the recruiter aspect of it. Say, oh, this is the greatest thing going.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
College.
Oh, yeah.
Then they pick you up.
Whoever thinks that military people get college for free, no, we pay with our bodies.
That's right, big time, big time, big time. Or you get up the first thing that morning, after you get off that bus, then you go into the barracks, and then you get up that first thing that morning, and that sergeant is sitting there jumping. I mean, the lights go on. You say, wait a minute, it's still
Lights,
dark.
lights, lights,
it's
lights.
still dark out here. It's still dark.
Hold
what
on.
am I doing?
Well,
what a deal.
I was very active in my children's life, and I had discipline and order. And so he always told me that because I was like that with him, he had an easier time
Yep.
than some of the others. If you want to touch that,
I thought you were going to tell the story that I told you.
no, you go.
It was about 2.5 months into boot camp.
Yeah.
And so at that point, everyone knows everyone. Even the drill instructors become jokingly at you, right? This one drill instructor who never called me by my last name correctly, Munteen is how you
Yeah,
pronounce it.
yeah.
He used to call me Mutant.
Mute.
Ninja Turtle.
Why? I still don't know, but he told me that he knew how to say my name, but he chose to say
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
he was ITing me, intensive training, kicking sand in my face, spitting on me, the whole 9 yards, right? And he looks at me and crouches down to my face because I'm on my back doing crunches. He goes, Munteen, are you scared of me? No, sir. Why aren't you scared of me? Well, sir, if you yelled as loud as my father did, I would be scared of you. Yeah, he couldn't keep a straight face. He started laughing. But, I mean,
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Man, during my time it was maggot.
maggot.
Did they
Okay.
still use it? Did you
You've seen that Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, maggot.
Yeah.
Hey, maggot, get up there. House mouse or anything
House-
like that.
we still have house mouse.
You still got house mouse?
Yep.
Okay, good. Yeah. And then you still got your platoon guide, right?
The guy,
Platoon guide,
the Stitch Witches, I think it
Oh.
was. I was on that because my grandfather taught me to sew young, so
Yeah.
I was tailoring our blues and everything. Yeah.
But it's quite a venture to get your attention and this, that, and the other. And every aspect of that time period, every aspect, it just takes you up to that particular point. Because at the end of the day, everybody has a job. Everybody gets an MOS, military occupational skill.
There you go.
Everybody has a job. And it gets you right back on track, if you will. So consequently, you are productive. I mean, you're a productive machine.
Right.
You know exactly. You know, and then when you're told to do something, it's not something that's a negative deal. You do it. And you understand what that process is all about. And I really appreciate, Tim, that you're bringing that particular point up, just like you say with your dad and aspect of it. So it's so important for the male today.
Right.
We've got so much, the effort right now, it's the year of the woman right now, right? She's trying to get involved in everything. I think about the deal with this one particular guy now is, he's being a woman swimming. Remember, he's a swimmer.
Oh, yes,
He's
yeah.
very strong and whatever.
Oh.
But I'm also reminded of the fact that a lot of the girls, basically, the tomboy type thing, you
Right.
go through that deal. They were going into football and all kinds of things,
Right.
and even the basketball aspect of it. But they was been trying to integrate all those programs, and a lot of the guys are saying, "Wait a minute, what are they doing over here?"
Yeah.
So now there's the argument about the swimming aspect of it. But I'm just throwing that out to say that boot camp meant so much during those early years to give you a good identity aspect of it.
Right.
And there's men and women both, but the majority, you're talking about fighting, and you're talking about putting people on your shoulders and carrying them across to this, that, and the other. And in all due respect, women are not physically fit, designed to do that kind of a deal. But
Well,
there's-
I mean, I'm 225
Right,
pounds.
right,
If
right.
a
Right,
female that's 5'5",
Right, right.
that's going to be very difficult for
very,
her.
very difficult. And we're going through those changes now.
Right.
I mean, I'm sharing it. I'm just being straight up about it right now. We're struggling it right now, aspect of it, whether it be law enforcement or this, that, and the other. You know, everything is. But for some strange reason, this country, as we go through that evolution, and we get right back down to
Right.
patriots, to family, the whole 9 yards. So everything is not lost.
Right.
So it's not like i.e. the Russian situation with,
Right.
with that whole picture with Ukraine, this, that, and the other, and you're seeing all the devastation and this, that, and the other. That doesn't happen in this country. If anything, we run to the rescue,
Exactly.
Yes.
and that's where we
always
are
have.
right now with this country. And I'm sharing this because some of us get a little confused if you haven't gone through the background that we've gone through. Right? You get a little confused, so you start taking sides, not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
And then people just fucking forget
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
They just, but I'm just going to react.
Right.
And it really bothers me when I see all the young folks, the shootings and this, that, and the other
Yeah.
aspect of it. And you know, those are bullets. Those are bullets.
Yes,
Those
they
that's
are.
a
Yeah.
serious-
They don't have. I mean, I think the core what it helps us. Well, what it helped me do is realize the value of life.
Yeah.
Taking life is not. It's impressive how people will get in an argument on the street and
Right.
one shoots the other.
Yes.
You're shooting someone because of an argument. You are willing to take a life because of a disagreement. That shows me you have no value of life. That's why the Marine Corps trains us the way it does to help distinguish, right? If someone comes at me, I know what I have to do. I know what is going to come next. So I have to take that action. It's not, oh, maybe I can talk them out. No, that's not how it works. To that point, if a car or shoes or whatever is more valuable than my life, your life has no value to me. That's how it works.
And on that note, real quickly, on that note, I was going to share with you, they teach you how to respect the weapon.
Oh yeah.
And the Constitution.
it's a
The
tool.
the
It really is.
Right. The Second Amendment right. I mean, we're going to be bearing on it because no country can just come in and
Right.
just take over.
Exactly.
So we just pick up the rifle and keep on, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. That's a major piece. And the other thing, just like you were saying, is that we never argued this, that, and the other. I picking up a weapon, if you will. You pick up a Pugo stick.
Exactly.
You still got the Pugo sticks in there?
Oh, yeah, we do. Oh, yes, we do.
If you want to whip somebody, but
Yeah.
they put you. We at the end of the deal, we had a big tournament, so to speak.
It was like a
And you get in there, those
Thunderdome. You
Pugo
just get
stick,
in there and-
you get Pugo stick aspect of it, and at the end of the day, we're buds.
Yep.
Well,
And
yeah,
love it.
that's how it used to
That's
be. I
it,
grew up
yeah.
like that. You know, it was the natural way of settling things,
Right.
and we were allowed to do that in school.
Hatch it out yourself.
After school, yeah,
Not,
we
oh,
were.
you're bullying him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I understand bullying, but it's been taken to
Yeah.
a different...
Right.
But I do want to say that thank God for the founding fathers of this nation that have, written the Constitution, and when you look at the individual rights that we have, they're very specific. They're very detailed. You can defend yourself if somebody comes into your home. You have the right to defend yourself. That's very specific, and so on. I don't want to go into that detail. We're going to be here a long time, but with the joining the military, what I realized early on, because I grew up with discipline, with routine, with toughness. One time there was tough love. Now it seems like once in a while a cloud of confusion comes over the United States, and all of a sudden we embrace things that are not natural. They haven't been embraced before, and then years go by before we wake up and say, oh, just this was a bad idea. And so what I'm really, I don't even know why I want to go to cattle right now, but it's probably because on the way here I was on the phone with a donor for the event that I have coming up at the convention center, and they want to donate 250 pounds of beef, and they cracked a joke and they said, well, these cows are not confused. Is that a bull or a cow? And it seems like we want to embrace things that are not natural, and I think that we should consider maybe before we embrace something, before we try to make changes to the human life as God created it to be, and we will all fall in place. No woman can force a man to love her as a man loves her because she is the right help for him as God created woman to be. And I'm sure the man. Now, no woman could protect herself as much as a man will protect her. A man is, when a man loves a woman, he's willing to lay his life down to protect her. But when things are happening the way they've been happening in our country the last couple of decades, it makes men throw their hands up in the air and go, okay, do whatever you want to do. So now the woman is not protected, and then we wonder why all these unbelievable things happen to them, and they get hurt, and then with hurt, fear comes, and scars, and so forth. So I say, our founding fathers knew what they were doing, and it worked for 250 years. Why reinvent the wheel? Why don't we just live life? And we're so blessed in the United States of America, and so protected by our God-given rights and by the Constitution that we have, and we have law enforcement officers who have, for the last 2 years, have been totally bashed. And are there bad apples? Yes. Why don't we just root those out and get rid of them? But a majority of, probably 99% of police officers are law-abiding citizen. They uphold the law. They protect us from each other. They protect us from bad people. They're human beings. They have families. They love God, family, and country. We need to honor and respect them. because we have good police officers in the United States of America. I got to tell you, I grew up in a country where, in a socialist communist country, where a police officer would pull you over because he wanted to go to the bar that night and didn't have enough money to drink.
Wow.
And if you didn't pay him, he'd take your car, your driver's license, you'd walk home. That was the best scenario. They could arrest you, take you to jail, force you to sign a false confession. If you refuse, they beat the crap out of you. And that night you'd be sentenced and go into prison for 3 years, 5 years, whatever they felt like it. They were the, you know, how they say, the judge and the jury and the
Right.
executioner, you know.
Wow.
They had that power. And in socialist countries and communist countries, that's how it is. And so we got to consider when we want a certain form of government, we can't be talking out of, you know, fairy tales, stories that we hear. We got to listen to people who lived it. That's why we have millions of people wanting to come to the United States of America. You don't see anybody dying to go to China, but my father was willing to die to come to the United States of America. And this is a living testimony, and the book is totally true. My father was a stinker for, he didn't want to put anything in the book that he couldn't back up with a document or with witnesses. And so it's the true story of what life was like behind the Iron Curtain and what he did to bring us out of there and to bring us to the land of the free and home of the brave, the United States of America.
You know, that's a good point. And I want to bring one of the points that you brought up in regards to the whole issue with law enforcement. And I'll bring Tim in, and he'll hear where I'm coming from. But when you go through boot camp, and how they structure and sell you and motivate you and define for you what that uniform means, the respect for that uniform.
Yeah.
See, we've lost the respect for the uniform now. That's why folks are talking about the defunding and people getting shot if you're in a uniform. People don't want to serve anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
You're an open target, so to speak. But in the military, when you go through that process of boot camp, it teaches you how to respect that uniform.
Yeah.
Because the uniform is the Marine Corps.
Exactly.
Got me? Just like a police uniform is. When you see a police uniform, it's supposed to be protection.
Yes.
Right. It's the same thing happens in the boot camp with reference to they educate you.
Exactly.
And that's
They
why
educate
today people respect their uniform, and when they see Marines, they constantly will put their hands out there and say thanks for serving. That's why I wear my uniform constantly. I do it all the time, whether with a cover or something to that nature, whatever. And that's a very important piece. So that point that you're making regard, that's the one thing we got to do right now.
Yes.
And is we got to bring back the respect, if you
Yes.
will, of the uniform that law enforcement officers wear.
Exactly. Yeah.
We lost it.
That's well put.
That's
very
fair,
well
fair,
put.
Tim?
And we
Yes,
need
no.
we need education on both sides. You know, this didn't happen because no reason at all. There were some police officers
Oh, yeah.
that abused their power,
Yeah.
and they've done things they should have never been done. And then some of them, when they got caught, they were protected and they were not punished for what they did wrong. So, you know, you heard the expression, one bad apple ruins the whole batch. Well, you know, bad police officers gives a bad name to thousands of police officers, and it's sad because it shouldn't be that way, and we should understand. But we need education on both sides, and especially, you know, starting with young age, you know, from kindergarten and from first and second grade. You know, we have a say, where I come from, a proverb that the first 7 years at home is what matters, what makes a son, what makes a daughter. And that's what we're going to teach them. The police officer is not there to punish you. The police officer is there to protect you, even from yourself. You know, when I was young, I was crazy. I used to drive as fast as the car would go. And I'd get pulled over, but I never mounted off to the police officer. Respectfully, I gave him my driver's license. If he asked me to step out of the car, I stepped out of the car. I showed respect. And many times, even to this day, sometimes I still drive fast. Get pulled over, you know, if it's at night, I roll down the windows, I turn on the light in the car before I even stop my car. And I wait for the police officer with my hands on the steering wheel and respectfully say yes, sir, or no, sir, whatever, talk to him. And many times they let me off and they thank me. because it's late at night, it's dark, and they're afraid to approach a car. When they see the lights on in my car and the windows are open, they know they automatically feel safer. We both have to de-escalate, not just the police officer.
Right,
Yes,
right,
they
right,
have
right,
to de-escalate.
right.
But what about us? What do we do when we get pulled over? And we need to stop pretending that we didn't do nothing wrong. You run a stoplight or a stop sign, and then the police officer pulls you over and we mouth off to him. I mean, there's no chance that police officer is going to let you go. It's going to give you a ticket. But you be nice, you be respectful, apologize. You've already broken the law. Right now, mouthing off is not going to help.
No, that's not going to happen. And then the other little point, I'm going to bring Timothy on this point.
Yeah,
Again,
please.
in boot camp, how do we handle it?
Oh,
how
yeah.
do we handle it with the bad guy? Because in all due respect, I was a recruiter when I came here. You got me? And sometimes the other recruiters, you know, they would just be bringing them in because of the numbers.
Okay, yeah.
You got me? But once they get to boot camp, it's a whole different ball game. That's why those guys who are basically in charge, the drill instructors, they have been trained big time to detect the good, the bad, the whole 9 yards, and then the unit that they develop as you develop in boot camp, you know, in the platoon, if you will. That's another element that will basically identify those areas, those individuals that just don't fit,
Right.
and they get thrown out.
It's a sifting,
Am I right, Tim? Hold on,
sifting
Tim.
process.
Throw it out there.
That's it happens throughout boot camp, just like you said. It's you can see the people who thrive under pressure and the people who fold under pressure, and that's pretty much what defines if you're going to be a Marine or not. Because if you fold under pressure, we're constantly under pressure. That's our best. A diamond is made under pressure.
Exactly.
We're Marines.
Exactly.
I'm not saying we're shiny like diamonds.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
we work very well under pressure.
Exactly. Because
Like, I'm not going to lie to you, Bruce.
Right.
I did not know I was going to be on with you today.
Right.
I was invited here by
Yeah.
my father, and
Yes.
under pressure, right?
Right.
I'm still thriving.
Yeah, right. And you're looking good. And
Thank you.
And you're sounding great.
You as well,
I mean,
Marine.
all those attitude that you're talking to is right on because now, unfortunately, the force that's there now with the department, and they're going to have to clean that up.
Yes.
That's right there.
Yeah.
Because in all due respect, we are taught when we're in boot camp, you don't pull your weapon out first. You're taught hand-to-hand combat.
Exactly.
You're taught how to take something. You're taught how to talk to someone about doing this and this, that, and the other. When you see them in your sights,
Yeah.
you just don't shoot a person right off the bat. You know, you talk to them.
Right.
You gotta say, hey, lay it out, blah, all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
But unfortunately, and they've always made the point about police is kind of like paramilitary,
Yeah.
which is good. They're well trained.
Right.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? So consequently, because they already have that, all those
Background.
Right.
attitudes and all that training aspect of it. But the bottom line is that they're going outside of that arena because we don't have that draft anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we don't have that pool, if you will, to be
Yeah.
able to draw from aspect of it. See. So now all of a sudden here they are just getting pretty. So now they're trying to OJT them at the same time, and they give them the gun. And right up front, in all due respect, we got men and women. We got as far as size and whatever, because it's all about deterrent. You can't get a 4-foot police officer to be able to approach a 7-foot dude.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's why they pick certain individuals.
Right.
Because it's a deterrent.
Yeah.
You know, God, look, Jesus Christ, I want to mess around with this guy. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. See,
Right.
aspect of it. But see, those are the things that we were taught when we were in boot camp.
Yeah.
Straight up with you. You get my point? Even when it's a selection process aspect of it. So that's why I'm saying that we need to get the respect for the deterrent for law enforcement now. You know, as I said, respect for law enforcement.
And
The
just
uniform, the whole
uniform,
9-yard aspect of it, and how you're trained. So we're going through this situation, but hopefully things will change.
Well, we can hope all we want, but that's where people with that ability to work well under pressure need
Right.
to come in, because I've noticed that change in the police force, if you will, right now is majority of because a bunch of the vets got out. A bunch of the police officers who were life career
Yes,
police
right,
officers,
right.
they've been getting out
Right.
because they don't either want to handle or deal with what's going on with the police right now, or if they are just phased out. And they're trying to bring in more young
Yeah.
police, and I don't want to say they don't have the same training, but they don't have the same training.
They don't. They just don't.
It's just like with me and you. I didn't go to the same boot camp you did,
That's
but
right.
it formed us the same.
And very consistent.
Right. Consistency
Yep.
is
Yeah.
It was there.
Yeah, because
We had the same training.
And you guys both hit something that I believe ever since I remember myself. But respect demands respect.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we can say respect returns respect. And if we all agree to respect the law, the police officers, for example, won't get pulled over, we will only receive in return respect. And so, and that goes the same for military, whatever branch
Right.
it is. But see, when you read my father's book, you'll see that way back in 1947, I think it was, when the socialists and communists realized that they will never take the United States over by force. And so what they did is they set their mind on infiltrating and changing us from inside out, from within. And they set for themselves 45 goals of the socialists and communists for the United States of America. And a lot of them, the 28 of them have been implemented already. And when you look at taking prayer out of school, taking the Ten Commandments out of school, taking the pledge out of school, that
Taking
all
God out
has
of the pledge,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and so all that has to do with respect. Whether there's respect for
Yeah,
God,
yeah,
whether
yeah,
there's respect for the
yeah,
teacher, for the judge, for the police officer, whatever it is, it has to do with respect. And those are just the first three that they took out. But there's so much more. They took over control of the education system. They took control of the media. That's why we have, more than half of the media, 2/3 of the media, they don't report truth. They don't report accuracy. They report made-up stories or half-truths. And so now we're confused. We don't know what to believe. And then a lot of people turn against against ourselves, against our own country. And while we should turn against leaders that have gone bad, against leaders that ran on promises that after they're elected they do not keep. We need to get them out. There's got to be a way. I don't know politics, but there's got to be a way. Once somebody is elected and they ran on 10 things that they're going to do once elected, and then once elected they don't do any of them, they do the opposite. There's got to be a way to get them out of there. Why? Because they lied to us. They promised that they're going to do these 10 things. They got elected. We elected them, voted for them, and now they're in power and they do totally the opposite. So anyway, that's another subject for another day.
But let's take that one piece you talked about the flag,
Okay.
from the standpoint of the Pledge of Allegiance to the
Yes.
flag. And within our society, within our country,
Yeah.
we all started off that way. As a kid
Yes.
in grade school,
Yes.
you basically raise the flag up and do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. If you couldn't do it outside, you did it in the classroom. That was just automatically.
Yeah.
I mean, just automatically. That was just part and parcel of how we were built. Along that
Even the
period.
respect of the flag comes
and
into
the
play as
respect
well.
of
Oh,
the
yeah.
flag.
Kids used to learn how to fold flags in
Yes,
school. That used to be a
yes,
thing.
yes.
Now you couldn't hand one to a
Yes,
kid.
yes. But we got to get back to it.
We do.
Yeah.
And in all due respect, we start right here.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm sitting up here running for county chair, and what I've been doing of late at Multnomah County is that I've been going to the commission meetings and asking that you get your 3-minute piece on the front end.
Okay.
And I get up there right up front with you, and ask everybody to stand. And then we face the flag. It's sitting in
Yes.
the room.
Yes.
That's what we've always been doing, in government aspect of it. And I'd lead the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag aspect of it constantly. So I've been doing that for the last 2 years at the county.
That's awesome.
And I've
That's
been asking for policy, but I still haven't been
that's
able to get the
amazing that
policy.
you would do that, but at the
yeah.
same time, isn't it sad that they don't start it with
Yeah,
the pledge?
Right. But that's true. But see, it was there. Now we got to bring it back. And I'm
Exactly.
still going back to that boot camp. That boot camp was always the thing that kept it there.
It's the
We
foundation.
don't have that anymore. We don't have that background as we grow, if you will. So we got to understand, and that's why I'm selling it that way. That's why I do what I'm doing. Is I'm not clowning. I'm not playing any game. I got stars and stripes on. I got the cover on aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not that I'm trying to brag on that. That's how I was brought up.
Yeah, well, and I do want to say that United States of America is the only country that has a constitution that tells the government what they cannot do to the people, its people. To where all the other constitutions have a constitution that gives the government the right to do whatever they
yes,
choose to do to
yes.
the people. Only that alone, I don't know if people realize how precious that is. The freedom to speak what you don't like your government, what they're doing, and not to have that fear of the government taking revenge on you. And you know, and I grew up in a country like that. Everybody was afraid of everybody.
But my point is that that's how they were trained.
Yes.
That's how they were trained.
Yep.
They would say, no, this is what you, this is how it's going to be. This person over here is going to run everything. You have no say on nothing. You do as you're told. That's how they were trained.
Right.
We weren't trained this way in this country.
Yeah.
We got individual rights. You got
Yes.
the right, if you will. You understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if we don't understand that and demand that it stays this way, we'll be in the same situation.
Yes.
We won't have a country.
Right.
We couldn't sit down and discuss issues.
Nope.
This, that, and
Right.
that. People would be shooting at one another a mile a minute. You know what I mean? Race. If you thought race was something, wait till you start talking about everybody looks
No
the
kidding.
same.
Everyone against everyone.
Everybody against the same. See, I say that a lot of times about people. They were saying even now on the tube, they were talking about what brought me up. I saw a piece on the news when they were, I think it was, in fact, all due respect, it was Channel 2 news, and it was kind of like talking about the number of who was doing all the shooting.
Oh.
And they said 50% black, 50% white. I said, you don't have but two blacks here. I said, well, Bruce, what do you mean? Well, very simple.
That's
I
funny.
said, but we can solve the problem.
means-
All we have to do is that once if the law enforcement catches somebody that's shooting a gun, you put their photo on the tube.
Why not?
Always, yeah, put the photo on
Yeah.
the tube. Then you'll know that the person is there, and you're helping the person out.
There you
See,
go.
you say, well, wait a minute. I can't even
see.
walk down the street, but they recognize me. You know, this, that, and the
Exactly.
other. See, so my point is that there's a lot of little things that happens within our life
Yeah.
that we could simply solve that problem, but we're not looking at that.
Right.
You get my point?
Yeah.
Well, look, tell you what, we got about another 15 minutes. We better now is talk about this program this event that you've been having every year.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome.
Well, thank you. And you were part of it in 2018 or 2019?
I think it was 18.
18, yeah. So, on my charitable side of life, what I do is I provide professionally trained service dogs to veterans with PTSD at no cost to the veteran whatsoever. Now, I gotta say, I'm the CEO of Northwest Battle Buddies.
Make sure we got this audience. PTSD. What do you mean by that?
PTSD,
Serving the
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
It's something that happens especially to men that go into combat,
Okay.
with the Marines, Navy,
Okay, yep,
Army.
yep, everybody, yep.
And so we serve all branches. And so back to I'm the CEO of Northwest Battle Buddies, and I speak on behalf of the founder and CEO, Shannon Walker. And 10 years ago, actually March 12th was 10 years anniversary since we received the approval to be a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And so we have our annual Freedom Gala, we'll call it, and it's an event, a fundraiser, a fun evening at the convention center. This year falls on Saturday, May 21st, right here close by at Oregon Convention Center. And it's a fun-filled evening. It starts at 4:30 with happy social hour, snacks and drinks, and live music, patriotic music. And at 5:45, the ballroom doors open, and we all go in, and we have an opening ceremony that starts off with posting of the colors, the pledge, national anthem, prayer, and a moment of silence for the fallen men and women that served our great country. And of course, after that, there's a delicious sit-down serve dinner. And after that, we have puppy parade, we call it, where we get puppies on the stage and we
Now that's
do
you.
their ass.
Make sure you stop it. These are dogs on a leash.
Yes.
I mean, that's the first time I've ever been to an event where you have all these animals. I don't hear no barking. They're nice and quiet. I mean, big time. Rock wild, the whole 9 yards. I mean, get down there. This is a dog. These are service dogs, right?
Right.
Service dogs
very
to
highly
help
trained.
people, help vets out,
Yeah.
help them with that PTSD.
Yes.
Me got me sold. He's got me selling all the time.
Okay, so these dogs, they get about 360 hours of training. We teach them everything from going on escalator, elevators, public transportation, restaurants, churches, movie theaters, and even through TSA at the airport. Once they're trained, they get tested, and some of the dogs fail, so we put them in forever homes. But the dogs that pass, we pair them with veterans. We have a waiting list, and we pair them. Shannon Walker is a professional dog trainer for about 27 years now, and she knows dogs very well, and she pairs them with veterans based on their personalities, matches them, and we have classes that we go through 5 weeks of training together. So we don't just give a veteran a dog and say, here, have a better life. We actually train them together how to maneuver life with the service dog at their side. And so again, we do everything together to teach the veteran how to handle the dog. Shannon says that the dog is only as good as the handler, and then they graduate and they take their dog home, and so far we served 170 veterans with service dogs, and we haven't lost one to suicide. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, 22 veterans a day lose their life to PTSD by taking their own life. And we haven't lost one. I say that's 100% success. And we love what we do, and would love to invite anybody that wants to be part of that at the Convention Center on May 21st. I think you would love it. It's a fun-filled event. We have live auctions. We have silent auction. We have excellent singers, and we're going to have a raffle for a Mustang Shelby. So somebody's going to come to the event and drive off in a Mustang.
Oh, really?
Yep.
You have a Mustang this time?
Mustang Shelby.
Shelby
Gee,
GT.
really?
GT, yeah.
It's a nice
Yeah, it's a very nice.
That's
Yeah.
huge, man. Gee,
We have a lot of.
I think I'm gonna be a dog.
Now, let me make that clear. The dog doesn't drive away.
Because they normally refer to Marines as dogs.
Well, it might be. If it's a marine
Devil
dog, then
see?
yeah.
That's devil dog. So make sure you clear yourself up now.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim's gonna be here. I'm gonna want one too.
Don't make us start barking.
That's right.
Yeah, but so we have a lot of sponsors for the event. We have Boeing, we have Par Lumber, we have Northwest Corvette Club Association, Feed Me, Fight Me, and about a dozen of them. And they've been with us through this valley of COVID the last 2 years, and helped us come out of it, and we're still doing well. And we hope that the event will be sold out. The ballroom is the largest ballroom in the convention center, sitting 1,800. And I don't want to brag, but so far, we haven't even advertised the event, but so far we're over 400 people already that's sold. Wow. So, and then we have radio station 105.1 The Buzz that's going to start advertising May 1st through up to the event. We hope that they choose to be live at the event. We give them the right to name a puppy, and so they're going to do that at the event, and that'd be great.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I hope to see you there too. That's okay.
Yeah.
If that's my parole officer, I'm busy.
Yeah, good. I'm gonna say about this other guest aspect. But no, talk a little bit more about the boot camp. The boot camp for the dog and the person.
Oh.
I think that's a good piece. I mean, I had the opportunity to see it. You know, you shared it with me, and I get excited about that. And then the person that's basically, like you said, the gal that's been running that. But talk about that, about your boot camp for your dogs and the person, because I think they have a place to stay. You bring them in and all that kind of a deal, and you introduce them to the dogs.
Yes.
They have to stay there, if you will, to make sure that the dog recognizes them and they recognize. I mean, it was something else. When someone shared that, you got to share that. You've been around this thing so much.
Yes.
You got to get those numbers in that room, right?
Yes, I agree. So once the dogs are trained, and our waiting list is about 8 months right now, and so the next class comes in, they get to meet their dog on first day they get interviewed, and then the second day they actually get to meet their dog and hug their dog, and then we start training with them, and it's 5 weeks, 5 days a week.
5 days a week.
And
On site, and they have to remain on site.
they stay at different places. They stay at other veterans' homes, or they rent a hotel.
The idea is every day, though, they have to
But every
report.
day they have to report in the morning, and
Those costs are covered.
right now the cost of the dog is covered, but the cost of the expenses that the veteran has to come and train with us is not covered.
Okay.
It might be covered by some other veterans or family or friends. Right now, our goal is to get to the point where we can cover that cost as well.
While you're on that particular point, how much does it cost to train a dog?
It
a
costs
person?
us approximately $25,000. If
$25,000
Per
per
dog,
dog.
yes.
Per dog, $25,000.
Yes.
That's right
Well,
there.
let me tell you one thing. Like for just to board a dog right now, no training or nothing, is between $50 and $60 a day at a good kennel. And so when you look at the fact that we get the dog from, it's donated to us, or sometimes we buy them from professional breeders, and then we can only start training the dog when they're about a year old. So
Okay.
we got to take care of it for a year before that. Then for 6 months, if you look at just 6 months, but we take 6 months of training, but just boarding for 6 months, how much that is. So that's 180.
Oh,
That's
excuse
okay.
me. I got a guy coming.
But 180 days is 6 months. And when you look at 60, let's just say $50 a day just for boarding, you're looking at 100 days, 50, that's $10,000 just for boarding.
Okay.
Now, our dogs come in and they're with us about 18 months, not just
Okay.
6 months. And then they go home, and then they would get trained together with a veteran for 5 weeks, another month
Okay.
and 1 week. And then they go home. And then the veteran takes the dog home.
Takes the dog home.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So there's a whole lot involved in it.
Now, do you monitor the progress of the dog, and you stay in touch with the dog and the person?
Yes, once the
So they-
veteran graduates, they have to come back to recertify 3 months after they graduate, and then in another 6 months they have to come back and recertify, and then once a year after that. We do stay in touch with all our veterans. As a matter of fact, we're going to have about 48 of them are coming to our event on May 21st
Okay.
with their dog.
Of the previous
Okay.
classes.
Of all of the 170 that we served already.
Okay.
And we have a class starting a week after the event, a new
Okay,
class
okay.
that'll put us over 170.
Okay.
But one of the things that we're gonna do at the event is we're gonna honor our veterans, first responders, National
Yes,
Guard is gonna
I
be
saw
there, and
that.
our police officers.
Right.
And they are the ones that are defending
Okay,
the
okay.
freedom that we have, and that's why we want to say thank you in a big way.
Okay.
And so my son is going to be there as well.
Good, good, good.
You gonna
Appreciate
be
that.
there?
Oh, he was. Yes, I'm gonna definitely be there. Wow, got to come, got to come. And what's the? Let me.
It's a Saturday.
It's on a Saturday. right?
Saturday,
Okay. They can always
May
call you for
21st.
information. People can call
Yes,
you.
you can. You can call me directly at 503-515-7199, or you can go to our website, all spelled out, northwestbattlebuddies.org. I believe David is going to put that on the screen,
Okay,
but
good, good, good. No
yeah.
problem. No problem. Okay, we'll get that. So, okay, now tell you what, we only have about 6 more minutes
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it. Let's talk about Ukraine a little bit. If you don't mind giving us a little update. What do you think about that piece, and where are we heading?
Yeah, I come from that side of the world, and they're life is very, very hard there, and people are very, very hardened against each other because the form of government they lived under, the pressure of the tyrannical communism and socialism that they have there. And so, but any wise man knows that there's always two sides to a story. I'm not excusing neither one, and I'm definitely not on the side of the Russians. I guarantee that to anybody. But there's always two sides to the story, and they got to the point where they couldn't sit down and talk anymore. And as you mentioned, that we live in an unbelievable blessing, because here, even though we have differences, we can sit at the table together and hash it out. They got to the point over there where they couldn't do that anymore.
Between Ukraine and
Ukraine and Russia, yes, and people jump to conclusions, and we look at the map. Oh, Russia's like this, and Ukraine is like this. Poor little country, and oh, the big aggressor. Well, yeah, Russia has always been an aggressor through the history, so I'm not afraid to say that. But Ukraine agreed not to have nuclear weapons, not to have atomic bombs. And if you look at what Russia did, the first thing they did, they went into Ukraine and they blew up their atomic and nuclear labs. What were they doing having nuclear if they agreed and signed a treaty that they're not going to pursue these kind of weapons? So We don't know both sides. We don't know details. Now, is it right for Russia to go and destroy and kill children and women and innocent people? No, absolutely not. And they are going to pay the consequences.
Yeah.
Because they are the aggressor, have been. They have the history of being aggressive in the world. But it's sad that they couldn't sit down with Ukraine, and yet the nations didn't stand in between enemies. And it's a little bit too late, and our administration didn't. Were not proactive. They seem to be reactive. And our administration should have done what the United States has done for a long, long time. We are the only nation that are the first one to respond to any disaster, whether it's
Yeah.
natural
It's in
disaster
our nature.
or conflicts. And we should have been ready. We should have been proactive and got in there before this happened. Now it's too late. And now we're saying we're not at war with Russia. We are. We're taking sides. We are actually providing weapons and airplanes and tanks and to Ukraine and technology. Now I'm all for that, but we should spend the energy and the finances to make peace, not to contribute to life being taken. Because innocent life or life is life, whether it's from Russia or whether it's from Ukraine. So I appreciate what my son said, that in the Marines they taught you guys to respect life,
Yeah.
and that's what we should have done. Now, maybe if I was on the advisory panel to our president and I said that, maybe I would have been hurt. Maybe
Yeah.
not.
But too often, and your point, our country is made up of refugees and immigrants.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's all we are. We
Yes.
basically all left there
Yes.
in the conflict and came all here.
Yes.
Yep.
Right up front with it. And in
Yeah.
all due respect, until now that we're in this technology deal, we can't get along. All of a sudden,
It's
it's
supposed to
not
make the
about
world
just
smaller.
one flag.
Yeah.
It's not just
Right.
one flag. You see what I mean? It's about everybody's got to have their own flag. That's what
Yeah.
the major conflict is all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And see, we came here. We're proud to come here. We
Yeah,
learned
yeah,
English.
yeah.
We went to school every night from 6 to 10 o'clock at night, and for a year and a half. And we did not demand interpreters.
Oh, no,
I didn't even know that you could demand an interpreter.
All
you come
colors?
to this, right?
Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Just as long as you go to work and you take care
Exactly.
of your property, I take care of
And
mine.
we were happy. I went to
Yeah.
work for $2 an hour, and I was proud to have a job.
Yep.
And now $15 an
Yep.
hour minimum wage is not enough. What's happening to our
Yeah,
country?
yeah.
Right.
What happened to ethics? And nobody could pay you enough to do a job right.
Right.
You could, if you do a job right, do it whether it's for free
Right.
or whether you get paid. Whatever the money you pay, just do it right.
Exactly.
But again, if you want to know what life behind the Iron Curtain
Then we're
was,
gonna get through, yeah.
please call me. I'd love to
right.
get a book in your hands to read for you to read. You would love it, and you'll see a different side of how great socialism and communism is.
Well, this has been quite a discussion. This has been great. Tim, nice seeing you.
Thank you for having
Like
me.
now you're working for Dad now, right?
Yep, so-
you were Dad.
If you allow me, I might be back.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're
definitely
talking about
will.
doing a podcast of father and son relationship.
Oh, it's
Well,
neat.
it's an honor, and it's the greatest achievement of a man to have a good relationship with his son, and I think that's missing in our
Well, that's why
country.
you're a great guy. You got my point.
thank you.
And hopefully the folks that viewing will understand that, and the message that we're trying to get to them in this particular show is, hey, we got to be brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Straight up. And we got to love God, and we got to
Family.
love this country.
Yes.
And love this flag.
There
That's
you
what
go.
this is all about. So,
Yep.
Tim, welcome aboard.
Thank
We're
you.
going to have you on for big time, and always a friend. Okay?
Thank you. Good
See you
to
at that
be
event
here.
aspect
Thank
of
you.
it. And to you out there in the listening audience aspect of it, you know what you have to do. We got a lot of things on our plate at this point in time, but it'll all be together. And if necessary, meet your neighbors. Say hi to your neighbors and say hi to these kids. Try to talk to them about this thing. Talk about the family aspect of it. Because in all due respect, and then there's the big homeless problem aspect of it. Those
Yeah.
folks have relatives across the board. And just reach out.
Right.
Reach out and take one home with you. If you
Yeah.
will. You got my point?
Yep.
And all these other things will probably resolve itself. But it's tough, but we're going to make it.
Yep.
Okay, good. And again, thanks very much for being with us. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. God bless. God bless America.